Hi, my name is Bella Manning, and today I'll be presenting my findings from employment data on 4,191 workers in 2006. And through my regression models, I was able to determine the probability of someone being a high or low earner based on the given variables. With that, the overall research question is, for the 4,191 workers who were surveyed, what variables can explain why some are high or low earners? Thus, a high earner constitutes someone's weekly average earnings as greater than or equal to $2,000, whereas a low earner constitutes someone's weekly average earnings as less than $2,000. As you can see here, I presented the descriptive statistics table for the variables included in the Probit regression. And looking at the 5 columns, you can see the first one says N, which represents the number of observations in the data, which is, like I said, 4,191 across the board, due to that being the number of workers who were surveyed. The second column shows the mean for each variable, and then the third column shows the standard deviation for each variable. And like we know, the standard deviation is a measure of the amount of variation or dispersion of a set of values, and so a low standard deviation indicates that the values tend to be close to the mean, while a high standard deviation indicates that the values are spread over a wider range. And you can see that the age variable has a high standard deviation of 11.30, which means that the values are spread out over a wide range. And then moreover, you can see in the fourth and fifth column shows the minimum and maximum values for the listed variables. Here I presented the Probit regression results, and on the right-hand side, you see the Probit regression equation with all the included variables. And as you can see, I didn't include the variable government, which represents someone who works for the government, and education, LTHS, which represents someone whose highest level of education is less than a high school graduate. These two variables were omitted just to avoid multicollinearity and avoid the dummy variable trap. And then you can see right here, the pseudo R squared is 0.225 or 22.25%. And the prob chi is just 0. And then lastly, the variables have their coefficients directly underneath it. Right here, they have the asterisk, which also signifies significance. And the brackets are just the standard errors for each variable. Now, when we're looking to interpret these results, we know that we can absolutely not interpret the coefficients to explain the numerical magnitude of each variable. This means we cannot use our typical statements of a 1-unit increase in X is associated with a percentage increase in Y on average, holding all else constant. But we can interpret the signs of the coefficients. So if the coefficient is positive, we can associate a positive change in Y. Whereas if the coefficient is negative, we can associate a negative change in Y. And the 3 variables that we found that have negative coefficients are black, white, and H squared. This means that these 3 variables are associated with a negative change in average weekly earnings. The rest of the coefficients are positive, meaning they're associated with a positive change in weekly earnings. And as we saw, all education variables actually had positive coefficients, but education with a BA or BS degree and education with an advanced degree are the only variables that were actually found statistically significant. So when looking at the significance, the 5 variables that are significant at the 99% level are age, H squared private, education with a BA or BS degree, and education with an advanced degree. And the only variable significant at the 95% level is the variable black. The rest of the variables are technically considered insignificant. And lastly, when analyzing the measures of fit for the Probit regression, we analyze 2 factors, the pseudo R squared and the fraction correctly predicted. And like I said, we want a high pseudo R squared because it provides the goodness of the fit for the model. With that, the data explains 22.25% as to why someone would be a high or low earner. And the fraction correctly predicted is 95.04, which is the fraction of Y's for which the predicted probability is greater than 50% when Y1, or is less than 50% when Y1 is 0. So 95.04 is a high number, which is a good measure of fit. So overall, when comparing the 2 models of Logit and Probit, I concluded that the Probit model is in fact a better fit. Thank you.